The battle has begun. Insta360 have long dominated the 360 camera market, but DJI have now rocked the boat with their first entry into the segment. So which of these should you invest in? The Insta360 X5 or the DJI OSMO 360? It's not all about image quality with 360 cameras. Factors like stitching accuracy, stabilization, export times, even the ease of manipulating and sharing content determine whether the camera works for you or against you. So while Insta360 have refined their solution with their 5th generation X5, the 1st generation OSMO 360 brings a hell of a lot to the table. Both cameras are lightweight, comfortably pocket-sized, dark grey, and fairly straightforward in their looks. Each has a small touch screen, even though the X5's is a tad larger and a different orientation. They both have 3 physical buttons, tripod and magnetic mounting options on the bottom, and the bulbous twin lens arrangement that marks them out as 360 cameras. In fact, the only clear difference at first glance is the shape. The OSMO 360 is squatter and squarer than the candy bar shaped X5, which I personally find works better on the end of a selfie pole, although that's down to personal preference. That aside, both are IP68 rated, meaning they're protected against dust and immersion in fresh water over a meter deep. You'd think this would make them similarly rugged, but they aren't. The OSMO 360 is water resistant to 10 meters, the X5 to 15 meters. And while the X5 is designed with underwater use in mind, DJI actually advise against using the OSMO 360 for sub-aqua 360 video capture due to technical issues, so that's a definite win for the X5. DJI also added some extra features with the OSMO 360. Even though it's a first generation product, it comes with internal storage, something that Insta360 has never had across its 5 generations, captures in 10-bit colour, and that's all behind a larger 1/1.1 inch sensor too. That doesn't automatically mean better image quality though, and that's important to note here. Image quality is not only determined by sensor size. We need to consider other factors like aperture, lens design, and general image processing capabilities too, and that's where the Insta360's 3 AI chips come into play. So whereas the OSMO 360 chose a 1/1.1 inch sensor and uses a single chip for image processing, the X5 uses its 1/1.28 inch sensor, but uses 2 AI chips just for noise processing, as well as color and dynamic range adjustment, and the third for stitching, stabilization, and highlight recognition. So that's a definite win for the Insta360 camp. When it comes to resolutions, the OSMO 360 edges in front with 8K at 50 compared to the X5's 8K at 30, although they both provide 8K at 30 in their respective low light modes, and the X5 edges out in front with higher frame rates of 120 at 4K in comparison to the OSMO 360's 100. So I'd call that around even when it comes to resolutions and frame rates. There are plenty of other specs we could cover, and Insta360 generally still nudges out in front. A larger vertical 2.5 inch touchscreen compared to DJI's 2 inch horizontal, built-in wind guard for better audio, waterproof to 15 meters over DJI's 10, compatibility with ND filters, and that's all just hardware. When it comes to software, we have more modes and it generally feels more refined. Adaptive tone for natural colors across both lenses, even the InstaFrame mode that captures a flat video for instant sharing, as well as 360 video for post-production later. It just seems better thought out overall, but saying that, this is a 5th generation product, which has had a lot more time to develop, whereas for a 1st generation product, DJI have really excelled. They just need to ensure they continue with those updates and developments. One surprising factor was the lack of replaceable lenses with the OSMO 360 though. Should these lenses be scratched, cracked or damaged in any way, you'll need to send the entire camera in for service. Whereas Insta360 have finally cracked that with a full DIY system where the lens can be replaced within minutes by yourself at home. This makes the X5 more of a rugged camera, one most will be more comfortable using in any scenario, which isn't the case with the OSMO 360. It still relies on lens covers. Even then, you do need to head into the settings and switch the lens cover mode on. all automatic with the X5, so the lens system is definitely better with the Insta360, no contest at all. When it comes to image quality then, on paper the DJI OSMO 360 should beat the X5 for image quality. The Osmo 360 has larger sensors with larger pixels, making it the more sensitive of the two cameras, and supports 10-bit video, while the X5 only goes to 8-bit. The Osmo 360 also supports a higher frame rate for 360 video, up to 50 frames per second as opposed to 30 on the X5. Saying that, in real-world tests, the two cameras deliver very similar results. Very fussy pixel peepers may disagree, but looking at video clips captured in identical conditions, I can't really see anything that suggests the Osmo 360 has the beating of its rival. In fact, I prefer the colour reproduction of the X5 in most cases, and also find the X5's low-light footage more appealing and punchier than the Osmo 360's, although that may be more of a personal preference. Both cameras support log video capture, even though skilled color graders might appreciate the higher bitrate of the Osmo 360's video in processing things in post. For those who just want to use the video straight out of the camera, like me and I suspect most users, I actually found little to differentiate between the two. That said, the X5 has features like adaptive tone and HDR, meaning it can capture more light and shadow details with greater dynamic range, and best of all, it doesn't need all the post-production adjustment either. You get high quality 360 videos in all kinds of scenarios, straight from the camera, which is a bonus in my book. Image quality aside, after a shooting session, even though DJI can store captured content onto its internal 128 gigs of memory, only Insta360 have a cloud solution for automatic uploading and storage of files. Not only can you store, but also perform basic cloud-based editing and then go ahead and share the footage with others too, something that DJI just doesn't have at all right now, but that does bring us nicely onto software. So for most people, the real selling point of 360 cameras is that they allow for post-shoot reframing of the image. Thankfully, both DJI and Insta360 offer such apps, both for desktop and mobile. Insta360 has a lot more experience in this area, of course, having been in the 360 camera game for some years now. Its Insta360 mobile app and Insta360 Studio desktop app are robust, easy to use, and quick to master. I found the mobile app's AI-assisted editing particularly impressive at turning out short videos with interesting highlights, transitions, and background music. You just feed it a few clips and it does the rest, and it's ideal when you don't have time to manually edit a video. DJI, the newcomer to 360 cameras, uses its existing Mimo mobile app for 360 edits. Its manual editing capabilities are roughly the same as the Insta360 app, but its auto-editing function, while outwardly similar, isn't quite as dependable, at least not just yet. The DJI Studio desktop app, meanwhile, may be new, but I found it easy enough to use and I had no issues using it to edit videos, add music, and export generally good-looking results, even though it's not as polished as Insta360's. We've previously reviewed the DJI OSMO 360 and the Insta360 X5 in depth separately, and each is a very capable product that's well worth its purchase price. I can't say you'll be disappointed whichever camera you choose. Which you should buy isn't as easy to answer though. Despite the specs being to the Osmo's favour, the Insta360 X5 is a tough camera to beat on the image quality front, with its array of advanced level features and AI chipsets. It's also clearly the more rugged and adventure-ready of the pair, mainly thanks to its easy-to-replace lenses. The Osmo 360 needs to be handled with a lot more care, and that's not a great thing if you're into extreme sports or want to film 360 footage underwater, which DJI doesn't even want you to attempt. On the other hand, I like the Osmo 360's built-in storage, and having compatibility with the same batteries as the Osmo Action 5 Pro means those already invested in the DJI ecosystem have good reason to pick it over the X5. In essence, these are both excellent cameras, and neither will let you down on the 360 video front. But if I was an Insta360 X5 owner already, I wouldn't be swapping it out for an Osmo 360 right now, large sensor or not. Being an owner of both, I still find myself reaching for the X5 most of the time. As impressive as the Osmo 360 is, especially for a first-gen product, the X5 is just a more polished, feature-rich and rugged camera overall, and for now at least, it's still the one I'd recommend to any newcomer to the 360 arena.